maybe you could speak to that bigger vision of being the on-chain Binance.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us. So first of all, just wanted to introduce both Matt and I. Matt is he's a speaker as well. So he's the overall director for Emmy Foundation, and I'm supporting all the go-to-market. We can't actually stay that long because, we have to get ready for TGE, which is going to be in at 2 p.m. GMT?
Yeah, we're ready. We're ready in 1.5 hours.
Oh, hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we've got you. I think you cut out for a second, but we heard you. TGE in 1.5 hours.
Yeah. At 2 p.m. GMT. I guess, we can't comment on any of the price action stuff. But what we can share is just the overall thesis for the token. So this idea of on-chain applications is something that is gaining more and more steam. If you think about major tokens in the last few years, right? A lot of the tokens have been about infra, or they've been chains, or they've been ZK infrastructure, all these things that don't directly touch users, but are more like B2B kind of businesses. And not to say that those things are bad, right? Obviously, we need really good infra in order for blockchain to succeed. It just, in the last cycle, we've seen Solana, for example, be a huge kind of bright shoot, right? But the idea is more and more people are going to come into blockchain. We see a lot of new retail even just coming in through meme coins now, and they're going to need one place to trade. And there needs to be better decentralized applications that can help be the on-ramp or the entry point for these new crypto retail users. Historically, when people enter crypto, they use centralized exchanges, right? And those businesses are also great, right? They've helped crypto expand a lot. But we believe the future is going to be on-chain, meaning we have this overall thesis that eventually, maybe it'll take some time, right? But we think most users are going to enter crypto directly from on-chain experiences because it's the most seamless, it's the purest way of actually accessing crypto. There are no middlemen, there are no intermediaries, and it's just allows people to trade more quickly, more seamlessly, and they will basically have full autonomy over their digital assets, which is the point of crypto altogether, right? So if we believe in the thesis of crypto, naturally you could also believe in the thesis of on-chain, that on-chain applications will be the home for crypto, and they will be the dominant home for crypto. And so this token basically represents the power of those on-chain apps. So what's going to be the future of crypto? Number one is it's going to be cross-chain, applications are going to be cross-chain. I think there is no really room for anyone believing that any one chain is going to dominate crypto in the future. There are a lot of people who love Solana, there are a lot of people who love ETH, there are a lot of people who love Bitcoin, and Magic Eden is one of those apps that actually, one of the very few apps, if not the only app, that's able to unite ecosystems across all of those chains, right? So that's number one. It's we believe the future of apps are going to be cross-chain. Number two is we believe the future of apps are going to be mobile. So right now, most people do everything on their desktop, right? I think we all remember memes of people taking their laptops to the gym to do trades. We can now see, even in the last few months, a lot of new mobile apps, really simple, beautiful mobile apps have started to emerge. And so Magic Eden also has a fully mobile app on Android and iOS. And then number three is just end-to-end, right? So the idea of if it's mobile and if it's cross-chain, you should be able to help a user on-ramp, manage all their digital assets, trade whatever they want, and also use that as a way of entering crypto. And so just to summarize, number one, it's cross-chain. Number two is mobile. Number three is fully end-to-end, meaning the wallet is also part of the experience, right? Currently, we have this experience where on crypto, you have wallets companies, and then you have application companies, right? But if I was to say, hey, in order to use TikTok, you have to download this other app and you log into that app in order to access TikTok, that is an untenable long-term way of people using crypto, right? So that is how early we are. But I believe you'll see all the major apps start to have their own embedded wallets. So basically, the token is that thesis. And so there is no direct comp for ME as a token. It's not really any of those single chain marketplaces. It's not any, it's not any of the smaller trading applications. And so we really think we're in a league of our own. And yeah, thanks for listening to me talk about the token.
Appreciate it. I think the on-chain thesis is one that a lot of people get behind. I think there's a lot of people moving in that direction, and I think there's a broad amount of support for that. So I think that's really cool. One specific comment on the kind of trying to house as many users as possible who want to interact in a safe way. Me and Legendary have been speaking all the time. I think Rahim as well knows. As soon as we want to convert to Bitcoin, like the Magic Eden wallet is the place to go to do that. There's no easier way to just chuck your USDC from whatever chain into one place and convert to Bitcoin. And I think you've been crushing in that respect. But one question I have on this, on the vision, which is to house everyone, I think one of the clear observations that's happened in the last year or two is that for whatever reason, it seems to be quite difficult to house people from different chains in one house. Like Solana or Solana NFTs have been very much on Tensor, for example. And I know Magic Eden is there as well, but I feel like at least at one point in time, it was dominated by Tensor. Blur very much dominated on ETH. And I think Magic Eden, certainly maybe on the main, maybe they were doing other stuff, but broadly ordinals was the thing that really kicked Magic Eden onwards and kind of grabbed everyone's attention for Magic Eden. So do you how do you see that moving forward? Do you think there's distinct cultures that mean that it's harder to all be housed in one place? Or is there a particular way that you intend to like gather everyone under one house, basically?
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of time. Like, okay, so let's imagine 5 years from now. Imagine trying to onboard your normal friend into crypto. There's just no way you're going to be like, hey, you're going to go to this site for this chain, you're going to this site for this chain. And then basically every chain having its own like wallet and app layer is going to be basically untenable. And if you look at the long run, right, I think what you're talking about is volume. But in the very long run, like what do businesses value the most? They value users and revenue. So whether or not like chasing volume to us is kind of like, um, it's kind of like a impossible goal because first of all, in crypto, some of the volume is like not even organic, right? And so I think for platforms like Magic Eden, also like keep in mind, like I'm at the foundation now, so I can't directly speak on behalf of Magic Eden, but the goal here is really just to get as many users across ecosystems as possible. And the more users you onboard, I think in the long run, people will just value simplicity. They'll value simplicity and convenience, and that is the overall thesis. But in terms of, I think like user stats, I mean, Magic Eden's mobile app has like 300,000 monthly active users. The desktop app overall has like over 500,000 MAUs. So I think in terms of like the strength of the business, it's doing pretty well. And you know, just to speak about like why is it worth it to go cross chain, right? Like why even do this? If you think about it from a business perspective, it's like it's like diversification. You have like, you know, maybe when Magic Eden began, right, it had like two sources of revenue. It had like Launchpad, right, and then it had like Solana NFTs. And now because Magic Eden is on like what, over 10 chains, like by the end of the year, it's going to be like, I don't even remember the numbers, like 15 chains or something like that. That means that Magic Eden is like a very stable business and can like kind of take all the volatility of crypto and has like, you know, maybe you take the number of chains and multiply them by two, assuming they all have Launchpad. And then if they have like a Launchpad business, an energy business, and token trading business, like what you are looking at, you know, we are not so worried about the short-term volume share of any one particular chain, but just building a very strong aggregate business. And then the foundation, right, and the token represents the protocols that power that business.
That's super interesting. Do you have an expectation or do you have any goals as to the proportion of how that business develops? So like obviously there's like the NFT side of things, then you've got the token side of things, you've got the launchpad side of things. How do you expect that to play out moving forward, or what would be your intention?
Yeah, I can't speak to like Magic Eden strategy, but what is, I think if you look at what they've been announcing, the big bets that Magic Eden are making are number one, the mobile app, right, to have like another surface area where people can trade on the go, and two is not stopping the investment in NFTs, but also including adding the investment into fungible tokens. So now you can do cross-chain swaps on Magic Eden mobile app, but there will be like increasingly more token native, like mobile native token trading experiences on both desktop and mobile.
Okay, that's very good. As we said, that's something we've been using quite often ourselves. Appreciate your time, Tiff. If you want to hang around, we'll probably keep talking about this for a little bit, and would love to hear some more thoughts from you. Wanted to throw to Whale immediately. Well, I know you've been covering this stuff a lot. You're super excited. You have never lost faith in the NFT side of our economy. How are you approaching this Magic Eden drop? What are your thoughts on it? What are your expectations?
Yeah, for sure. I think you guys already nailed it. Like, Magic Eden has become like more than just a single chain marketplace. Of course, we have Solana, we have Ethereum, as you said, where they don't have like a ton of volume, but still they added it. And back when they did, they had partnerships with a couple of projects. Ordinals, I think, is a big one. Runes, I think, is another big one with a lot of potential. So they're like in a lot of different ecosystems. So I'm excited for how the token launch will do today. I think it will do well. I also think like a lot of the comparisons we had with other marketplaces and their token launches in the past, they launched through different market conditions. As I said, they have different different products. So I think they will do pretty well. I don't think it will, I see people throwing around $50 valuations per me. I don't think that will happen, but I think they will do well. I think they did really well this year, and yeah, that will be my take.
I like it. I think that's probably one of the key takeaways from our discussion on the show yesterday, as well as this discussion today, is that maybe we don't know that the traditional marketplace comparison is the right comparison necessarily, because that's probably quite limiting in this sense. We do want to cover maybe a couple of other things, but I want to go to Bongo first. Bongo, welcome to the stage, my friend. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're well. One of my favorite ordinals and runes bull posters. How are you doing, my man? What are your thoughts on Magic Eden coming to market today?
Yo, first of all, we haven't talked since Thread Guy Dump, all of us for the LA Cabal. And I'm glad to see the European and Asian crew doing spaces before America wakes up. This is the actual alpha of the day. In terms of Magic Eden, dude, I'm expecting a 10 to 50% rotation to Originals and Rune. It looks like people have been buying already and the bags has been pumping. But I'm expecting massive inflows, especially on the Rune side of things. Ordinals in the past, they used to be fade. Then they had a massive run. By now they had a couple, and Runes hasn't had a massive run yet. So that's what we're waiting for here.
Bongo, I hope you're right, man. Everyone keeps telling me runes are going to run, and they're not running in the way that I need them to run. So I'm hoping you're right there for sure.
That's how every good run begins, right? Like when everyone is desperate, when so people has been patient for a long ass time, and you only have diamond heads. What the runes community has right now is what none other community has, which is a strong, hungry community that's not full of cheaters. They've been holding the back since the halving. They've been making new memes, and they've been in the timeline 24/7, just pushing the narrative. And eventually it will click. The AI ecosystem and meta came around a few weeks ago. It's at 5 billion market cap overall. The Runes ecosystem is below 2 billion. That's just disrespectful. And it won't stay like that for a long time.
I know you are definitely in the trenches doing that, so we appreciate you for your service. I do think as well with runes, when Bitcoin starts to move, that conversation about it being very undervalued versus Bitcoin always becomes one. Bitcoin's obviously been like chilling out a little bit now, around 100K. If that really moves again, I think we see them potentially move. But Legendary, I wanted to come to you here on some potentially interesting strategies. Like one of the things you've been diving into a lot recently is what to do with large amounts of tokens when you want to try to provide liquidity. Like I know you've got some kind of interesting strategy to share here. Take it away.
Yeah, I've been thinking about what to do with the TG from an LP side of things, because obviously it's going to be a high volume, high volatility event. You will have people who want to sell their airdrops. You will people who will want to buy the token. I'd also expect with the volume that is to come that Solana will be a bit overwhelmed with everything that's going on with the claim process. And Fabiano Solana has been sharing a interesting strategy for Meteora that I think is worthwhile at least thinking about. So how is he playing that? There is already a pool that has been set up for Magic Eden and Sol with a 5% base fee. Obviously, also you have a Meteora the dynamic fee, which is depending on the volume and volatility of a token. And the strategy that Fabiano is going for with this one is an interesting one because he wants to play it a single-sided with Solana only. That means not providing liquidity with both Magic Eden and Solana, with the thesis being that it might be a bit challenging to claim your Magic Eden token, and until this will be resolved, there's going to be even more volatility and volume on the token. So basically, the strategy that he is setting up here is to DCA into the Magic Eden token to buy that with Solana and earning fees in both Magic Eden and Solana by doing so. And obviously, this dynamic fee, because it's such an expensive pool, will decrease over time. It will probably be at the start higher than the 5% that is set at. And once the claim works, this is kind of your hedge for the strategy. If you want to hedge, you can obviously sell the tokens that you claimed. But it's interesting to see how a lot of the times liquidity pools, especially with high volume, high volatility events, especially also with the meme coin trading side of things, where there's just not enough liquidity to one clip out of your position, started to be used more and more to DCA in or DCA out of tokens. And I think that's an interesting approach that I'm probably going to play around with myself. Not sure if I'm going to join this pool. I'm going to look at another one, but I just wanted to bring that to the attention that that's an additional way of how you can look at liquidity pools to not provide two-sided, but also one-sided liquidity and the thinking behind that.